We have liftoff. ABR Live 123-24 tonight with Brody Longo from Slinging Inc. CrossFit the Marathon. Brody, thanks for joining us tonight, sir. Let everyone know where they can find you. Give them all your links. Give them all your tags, where you're at.
All right. So my Instagram's Brody13. The shop is Slinging Tattoo on Instagram and Point Pleasant Beach. We're in Slinging Tattoo.
What are your drop-ins? What days are your drop-ins in case people can't get on your books?
Oh, what to walk in?
Walk-ins, I'm sorry.
Okay, all
Drop-ins.
right, there you go. No,
Thinking
that's
of
cool. Yeah.
CrossFit.
So this time of year, I pretty much do appointments. Pretty much appointment only. And once I get into the summertime, once we get into the heat of it, that's when I'll shift and I'll just do walk-ins. But either way, if I have time, if I have a cancellation, I'll make it happen. So it's just like it's just a matter of just put it together, and then I can do that for sure.
Cool. Jim, you want me to take
Sorry,
it?
Rich. I was
Yeah.
I was getting everything going on the YouTube. Sorry for the dead air there, fans.
Yeah.
But Brody, super stoked to
Hmm.
talk to you tonight, sir. I first met you. You were the tattoo guy in town, right? You were the
Yep.
one that everyone went to get tattooed. I don't know if there's a person from Point Pleasant with a tattoo that hasn't been to Slinging Ink at some point. Maybe not for you, but they've been to
Right.
Slinging Ink and they've spent time there. And then we became more friends, of course, you and Rich, because of CrossFit. And
Sure.
we know you got heavy into CrossFit for a while,
Hmm.
and we were heavy into CrossFit. And then, this summer, Rich was like, "Hey, I'm training Brody for a marathon." It's like, wow. So we talked about this a little bit in the
Yeah.
summer when we were in the shop, but we'll have a little bit of a clearer feed tonight. We won't have that buzzing in the background, so I'm super stoked
That
for
was
that. But
it. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
good.
you just ran a Philadelphia marathon, and I'm
Yep.
curious what did you think going in, and did you get what you expected out of it? Did you get a little more? Give us some feedback and
Uh,
all that.
all right. So I'll start with like the way it all kind of started. So like in the back of my head, I said I'm going to run a marathon one day. There was no set time or anything like that. So my mom, like I guess around my birthday, in February, my mom was starting to start her training, just start to ramp up because she was put in for the lottery for a New York Marathon. So so we were running a little bit, and I think we ran like on my birthday or close to my birthday, and we were running. She was like working out, whatever, and she was everything was good. So we were cruising along, and she was just pretty much waiting on the lottery to come through. And so the first one she missed. So then there was two more after that. So the second one she missed. And I guess that's April, and then the last one's in May. So we're going, I guess, right after probably like the middle of May. I guess that comes through. So she was like, at this point, she was super bumming, and so that I told Kyle, I said, hey, I was like, if my mom agrees to it, I was like, I don't know. It just came out. And at this point, I had just gotten wrapped up like spring fishing, striper fishing. Um, and, um, and I said, Kyle, I said, if my mom wants to do it, I said, I'm gonna talk to Rich, and I'm gonna start training for this. She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So it was just kind of just like it popped in my head. I was like, you know what? I was like, there's only one way to figure out if I could do this or not, and so then she was listening, she was in the middle, so I call her up. I'd say, hey, she was like, she's like, what's up, I was like, if you want to, I said, I'll run the Philadelphia Marathon because I know we can still get in, because I checked it out, and it was wide open. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, we're going to run the marathon together. You already started training. All I got to do is start training as like, we can do this, and I just like, I need volume. I need volume of running. I said, I think I can do this. and at that point I was going to run with her. So like, the time was not an issue, not that it was in the beginning for me thereafter, but like there was no set time, it was just, we were just going to do it and do it together. And that was what the goal was. So they hit Rich up, and then at that point, I think the most that I ever ran at any long distance was 7 miles, was like the longest, and I did that right before I talked to Rich. I don't know. I was that was my test. If I could do 7 miles, I could do this, and and so then we got the programming set up, and I got the app, and that was where it began. And that was June 19th that I started that. And that was kind of where it was at. And without going too far into detail, I don't know if there's anything else that you just want me to keep on going.
So you knew you were going to do a marathon at a certain point. You said that. Did you expect it to be harder than it was? Was it easier than you thought? Did you have kind of that CrossFit endurance type of mindset where you knew because you were a CrossFitter and you've put in, those intense workouts and you kind of have that body of work over the years? Did you know it was going to be easy peasy?
So it wasn't. I mean, at no point was like any of it easier. But like what ended up happening was so like I mean, Rich could tell you, like all of a sudden, like my endurance started to go like open up, and then that was like once I don't know at what point. I wish I journaled that, like when all of a sudden I felt, because there was points where I would message Rich, and it was like after like some of the track stuff, and it wasn't anything crazy, but like I would get done with the track, and it would just be a bunch of 800s, like nothing crazy, not like hyper fast or anything like that. I would get done with that, and I would get done, and then I felt like I didn't even want to do the last 2 mile of a cool down. Like I just it was like a fight for me to get those last 2 miles in. And it was weird. Like every once in a while, like I would just like it. Just I guess it was before it like friggin' I really started to open up, and it really started to kick in and work. Did I, there was a point where it was like I was cruising, and I guess it was remember it being hot as hell, and maybe it might have just been the heat that was beating me up a little bit, because we're probably in the middle of July, August, and it was like there was points in from July till like September that it was so sweltering here. It was crazy, and like that might have been the hardest part. It was just dealing with that, and just like just like, and that would just like that would spike my heart rate, so maybe that would, I don't know. Rich probably knows more of the science on that. But the CrossFit, I guess, I guess the CrossFit, like no matter what, like CrossFit kind of, like it planted a seed that if I do the work, I can get it done 100%. If I train enough, I can lift that weight. If I train enough, I can compete, so that mindset, I knew all I needed was like that volume of running, which I didn't know how to get there, how much to do, or or what to do. But once I got onto the VO2, like it was game changer. That the accountability and everything, it's totally what I needed to do that. The race itself was incredible. The weather was incredible. And but the journey of the training was like it was every bit of just like mental, physical, spiritual. Like there was it hit every facet of it. It was definitely like a game changer. And I I never, I did train endurance, but not to this level. And now I truly, I see where it's at. And it changes everything. And there was a in-house gym competition, and it was probably I think it was September. So I had already had all those months of running in with all the nasal breathing and all that, and that was a game changer going into that. Like I was so ready, and and I really wasn't. I wasn't at that point. I was almost strictly running. Maybe working out like once a week, like one workout a week on the day I coached. And so like the CrossFit was little, but the endurance was all there, and it was just just put the hammer down, and I did it. And it was I think that was just like all the muscle memory that I had from doing CrossFit for so long. I think that was built in, and that was just once I added the endurance vehicle, it was game on.
I think I know when the endurance kicked over, when it changed in, is when we introduced the Cceps.
Oh, dude, that stuff is wild, 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 dude. Like craziest thing ever, And it got to like I'm trying to think like how I was taking it just to try it out, and I would take it out my short runs, and but then I would save it up for my long stuff, and that was the only time I was taking it was during my long runs, and it was just incredible, Every once in a while, like depending on the just like if it was super hot or whatever, I would sometimes I would take it if I had some like a heavier track workout to do. That made a difference too, But like sometimes so what was happening was I was taking the cordyceps, and I was like my endurance had peaked, like not peaked, but this was really opening up, and I'd take the cordyceps, and I would be running way past the pace I was supposed to. Like I would just like that stuff just made me want to go, like I felt like if I had to kind of tone it down, right? Because like if I did take, I felt like I just like was just gonna just like not hurt myself, but I was like I need to tone it down, and I don't need to feel this every time I run, like that was I think that was a part. I don't know where I made that decision, but it was like like I just did one, and I blistered it, and I was like, whoa. I was like, and you never said I shouldn't have gone that fast, but there was some track stuff that I did that like was like mind blowing. That I just because like I guess you're running so at such a like a moderate pace, at a easy pace, and then you start doing some fast intervals, man, and then you just go wide open, and you can do it. You got it. That's the thing, is like you have it, but it's just like it's not tested or opened up until you get to the track, so it's pretty cool. That was a really cool experience, like I really dug that, just like it just I don't know, it was that, like as far as being ready, man, that was like the way that programming is set up, it is wild. And I'm not just saying, I tell that to everybody, that anybody that asks me, what I did or where did I get it from, I send them your way, and it's super cool, super cool. And it is tested, and I'm a testament of it, So,
and I think
that on a shirt. Rich, did you get him on the beetroot too, or just the cordyceps?
No, not on the beetroot. We just stuck to the cordyceps. But I told them the last time I was home, I had an addition for him, and then next time around too, we're gonna get him on the nasal strips too, and then it will be off and running. But I think you're going back to what you said about not ever really saying anything about the paces being too fast on the intervals and stuff.
Yeah,
I wasn't ever really concerned with that because it's a new experience to you, so we really don't have a true like baseline. We never really got like a true like 5K baseline of what your real VO2 max would be or what your V dot number would be. So like I was basing everything off of the nasal breathing, because the nasal breathing is really what I wanted you to get through the marathon with. That was what was gonna get you through the marathon, and be able to eat and drink and really not ever. You might experience the wall a little bit, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but it wasn't like, I think sometimes people, they just go out way too hard, and that's when the real wall comes. But if you're nasal breathing, you're not going to experience that. And I think when you were going to the track, I wasn't really concerned, because I was getting more of an idea of what your true kind of baseline was, or what your V dot was. And there was one session, Jim, that he did, it was just like, oh damn. And he was like,
I was nervous. I did it too fast. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing it like this, like.
No, not at all. And I saw the V dot, and I sent him a message, and he's like, the the football team was out there getting
Oh, it
ready
was
for the
that day.
game, and they had
Dude,
the Metallica was playing. He's like, I just let
that,
the Four Horsemen take me home.
dude, it was, dude, that was like, I just got the chills because like there was like a couple only, there was like, video audio guys going around, and dude, it was like my last two laps. And dude, when all of a sudden they started pumping this music, when I just took, at this point I was wearing a shirt because there's a bunch of people around. I just took my shirt off and just hit the hammer, dude. Like 100%, like just like went all out, dude. And these people must have been like, "What is this maniac doing?"
Running around the track like the Ultimate Warrior coming into
Dude.
WrestleMania 3.
Dude, all tattooed up, just like the people were like, what the hell is going on? And then, as soon as I left the track, like the whole team came in. I guess they were taking pictures or what I don't know. It was right before a game, so they were doing something. It was funny. It was really, really, there were like so many stupid little things like that happened that were just like whoa, But that was I'll never forget that because the music, everything, it was just like it all came together that day for some reason. And I never run that in. I don't know why I did, but I ran in the afternoon for whatever reason. I always run in the morning. That was just kind of just how it worked, unless I couldn't get it in. But I maybe I surfed in the morning or something. I don't know. And it was totally classic uh, track day.
But I think
Brody,
oh, go ahead,
I'm
Jim.
sorry,
Go
Rich.
ahead. Go for it.
You mentioned before you had that in-house workout or the
Mm-hmm.
in-house competition,
Mm-hmm.
and you said you were only CrossFitting like once or twice a week. Did any of your numbers or any of the strength stuff go down? Have you retested any of that stuff
No, so that's
afterwards?
funny you said that. I but definitely like I mean I could feel it, just like I forget we had some cleans to do. I think they were like 180, 135, 185, and it was a lot. And you were just me and it was a partner workout, so you were just kind of banging them back and forth. And and I remember it was it just 135 for whatever it was, and it was like the last workout. It felt heavy, but I remember I remember like at one point, like I had just gotten done and my partner was still kind of recovering a little bit. And I just like, he went to grab it, and I could tell he wasn't there. And I just like, I just kind of just like went and I grabbed the barbell, before him, and, just like, dude, I don't know. I don't know between the Cceps and just like, like being in like that, like at that point, I was running for months. I was running by myself, like, just with music, and just like having that energy, like competition energy, like the fire was relit for sure. And I felt it. I felt every bit of it, and I was putting it down like it was my last workout, like it was serious. But like at that point, like I said, my endurance was like unbelievable, and it was 3 workouts, and I remember I think I was supposed to have a run after that, and I remember we either ended up scratching it or it was like a deload week in my running. So Rich could probably tell you better. And we scratched it, and I was pretty sore thereafter, within the week I was back on the horse and back running, just I think I had to walk the next day. Like he didn't want me running just because I think I would have been pretty shot. And I was pretty shot after it, but um it was that was a really really good. But I definitely I lost a bunch of weight, and I wasn't eating real clean before I started training for the marathon. So I got that dialed in, and pretty much just kind of went to, a paleo diet that more or less, I had, some oatmeal and a little bit, I was eating like, flour tortillas, that was pretty, and other than that, that was like pretty much like the only bread or anything like that I ate. And I just ate a ton, and it just like, whatever I was doing was working because I could tell. I felt it right away, and it was pretty much just going back to just the way that I would eat when I was competing, like when I was doing like heavy comp stuff, and I know that stuff's proven too, and that works for me too. So like that was like all the pieces were set. Just had to put, I just had to get the running dialed in, and that was, and it was good. So.
And like a true CrossFitter and endurance athlete, he didn't tell me about the competition until after he had completed it.
Because I was like, it was funny. I did it with Tyler, and I think Tyler was I was excited to do it with Tyler because Tyler is young and he's still got the juice in him. And Tyler, I would think, was more excited to work out with me, because he knew I knew how to do it, And it was funny. It was just meant to be, and everybody pulled their partner from a hat, so it was pretty good like that. It just total, coincidence how that worked. It was pretty funny.
And you guys
but
won, right?
Yeah, we ended up winning. And it was, it was for charity. But it was more just kind of just to do it, and it was really good. Yeah, no, it was that was awesome. That was an awesome day.
So let's get into race day.
Mm-hmm.
I've run a bunch of gaggle of marathons at this point, and then they get easier as you go. I know I had a lot of expectations going into my first one, and like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I thought I was ready to run a marathon, and then I get to Florida and it's like 30 degrees and it's freezing, and my gels are frozen, and I thought for sure running under 3 hours was going to be no big deal, and then here I come around the corner and I'm sprinting to get under the clock so I can get under 3 hours for the first one. Did you have any expectations other than finishing, and how was the experience? Did you hit the wall? Did the Morton gels work for you? The hydration on point?
So expectation. So I didn't, based on like the training that we were doing, I figured I would be like 4.5. It was kind of what, like was just based off of just like what it took me, at a, easy pace to do, the 20 miles, that's what I was basing it off of. And, so when I set up, so like, I was, playing the, I played the number game in my head, and I was like, I would love to be under 4 hours. And I was like, to take a half hour off, I probably thought I could. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I started at the, when I started my race, I found, my corral or whatever. And I started at I said the 4:10. I was like, I'm going to start here and see how I feel, and that was pretty much kind of what my thought was. Like, I'm going to run as good as I could feel, and,
so you started with the 4 hour 10 pace group.
4:10 was where I started, and that was like that was, you said go slow, so so I'm cruising, and there was like, it was kind of congested where I was, so I kind of made a move forward just to kind of get away from, like, there was like this weird pack that I was in. I wasn't like 100% comfortable, like, with just the people I was running around. So I just kind of got ahead of them just a little bit. And then as soon as I got ahead of them, I learned how to drink water out of a cup. And now, prior to this, I drank out of bottles, right? So I had a bottle with me, but I was kind of saving that. So when, I needed water, when I didn't have a cup. So we're at probably mile 3, I guess I would say. It was early on. And I just gotten, probably like 2 miles with this 4:10 group. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I was like, I got to get it a little bit. So I start going, and there's a woman in front of me, and so I figure I take a cup off the table, and I fucking put it up to my face, and the whole thing goes up my nose, in my mouth, and now I'm running, and I'm drowning at the same time, and I'm coughing, and I'm dying. And I look over, and this the lady next to me just smiling, laughing. She's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Oh!" Like, dude, it literally went up my nose. I inhaled it and fucking coughed it all out. And I'm like, I'm still running. She's like, and I'm looking at her, and her cup is pinched. She's like, She's like, you got to pinch the cup. I'm like, I almost drowned. So then I pitched, I get, I grab another cup because the first cup, it went all in around. I was like soaking wet. And so then I pitched a cup and I'm like, oh, I was like, that's awesome, but until you do that, do you know, and that was, that was one of the first learning experiences, that, you pitched a cup when you drink, and, so at that point, so then I was with, so I was ahead of the 410. I couldn't see the four, like the 4 hour marker. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to stay ahead of these guys and kind of see where I was. And that was kind of where I stayed. And I don't know how close I got. But there was, once I started seeing people hit the wall, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel the wall, but now I kind of understood where that wall was. This, like, it was literally like between the 18 and 20 was when I started seeing people peeling off. I saw people that were in the 3 hour pacing times. There was a bunch of young kids that were walking, and I don't know if they got hurt or what the deal was, but I kind of saw it was right in that area from 16 to 23 was where I saw like people fading off. That's where you started to see people walking and stopping and all that. And that was pretty wild. I didn't ever hit a wall at all. I tried to push it a little bit more, and my body was telling me that I can't, and I tried it twice, and I don't know if I drank water at every table I could, and I had my bottle, and I think I still might have been just a little bit under, like hydrated, just like this, my electrolytes might have been just a little under. And, like my hamstrings, like I started to, I guess I was at this point, I was like at like I was at like 8. I'm trying to think where I was. I was trying to get to, I was at like a 9 minute, 9.5. I was at 9.5, and I wanted to push it to like 8.5. And up until the training, the last, 2 miles of, a lot of our longer workouts, I would go for it on the last 2 miles. And I wanted to try and push it, just in at that point, I think I could have got, like under 4 hours, but that was just kind of what was in my head, and I started going, and all of a sudden my hamstrings started to twitch like they were going to cramp up. So I slowed down, and then I relaxed, got some water, whatever, tried it again, and all of a sudden, like my hamstring, and then all of a sudden my butt started to tighten up a little bit. And I knew where it was going next, so I just dialed it back in, stayed at that 9.5, and just finished. And then I don't know, like the last probably half mile, I think I just tore open and just went as fast as I could. Anyway, good to see. Once you get into that energy, all the people, like when it starts to, as you get closer to the finish line, and the energy there is like super cool. And that was another thing, just like the energy that people that come out for marathon. Next time there's a marathon, I am going to cheer for people, because that was unbelievable thing, just like it's something so simple, and just it is so novel, and so that was that was race day pretty much for me.
What was the time at the end?
4:06.
4:06. And did you experience any of that cramping during training? Do you think that was just electrolytes?
Yeah, I think not at all. Because I mean, I was pretty religious about just about the electrolytes. I was religious about having fuel, the gels and everything else. Yeah, I think it was just electrolytes, and I think it was like at mile 23 is when 23 is when I decided I was going to start to ramp it up. So my head was there. It just, my body was just telling me, to relax, just enjoy the ride, and it was fine. And Rich, I don't know if I told you this one. Somewhere along maybe 24, after I decided I wasn't going to, I couldn't push it. I was running along, and there was a lady who had a Tupperware tin of the small little bags of gummy bears. So we're at mile 24, and I'm like, She was like, she had it, and I was like, gummy bears, and I grabbed the bag, and I was like, gummy bears. So I was like, I'm eating gummy bears. I tear open this little baby bag and put them all in my mouth. So there's 10 gummy bears in my mouth, and all of a sudden, every bit of saliva that was in my mouth was gone. And now I have a brick of gummy bears in my mouth, and I'm trying to chew. And those things, they might have been, I don't know how stale they were. They were rock hard. I was like, I couldn't get one bite into one of them. And I'm running and I'm trying to chew this whole, I could have just put one in my mouth. No, but I put the whole pack in like an idiot, and, so and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm running. Now there's some old dude next to me, and I'm just like, I just spit him in my head and just fucking throw it. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what? I'm like, what am I doing? I was like, it's like losing my mind, at that point, like once I got to mile 24, I was like, we're almost done, I was like, it was like the home stretch, and I was just like, I don't know, that was a game time decision that I regretted instantly, it was all good, but I was just like, what am I like? I just knew better. I had gels I could have ate. I just, no, I'm gonna eat gummy bears like an ass, it was like total classic, I was just like, I don't know. That was my weakness in the moment,
She's trying to get rid of her Halloween candy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just that they were fine. I mean, they were fine, but it's just I don't think
Those
I needed
little
to put
ones
them
get
all.
hard though. Those
Yeah,
the
I
little
guess
packets.
they were just like dude, they were rock hard, and they was I put them all in my mouth like an ass. Like I could have just had one. No, the whole thing. It was so like put a whole thing of Big League Chew in your mouth. Trying to do anything. It's just like no way. Classic.
We did the Las Vegas Marathon one year with a Lifers Prescribed crew,
Okay.
and they had on course they only had one flavor of gel. It was like the goo, like jet blackberry or something. It was like one of their worst flavors. So the guy, I was pacing a guy,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, now don't like squeeze all of this in your mouth because you got to do it like a little bit at a time.
Bit
And he, of
time,
course,
yeah.
like squeezed the whole thing and had a very similar kind of reaction to just like, this is disgusting. So he like would refuse the rest of the way to take
Wow.
in a gel, but then he got to the point where he was like, he had bonked. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they had them on course or people were just dropping them, but I started to see the Jelly Belly, the sport bean
Yep.
wrappers on the ground, and I would kick them. And the ones that weren't open, I would pick them up, and I was picking up the Jelly Bellies, and I was eating them jelly beans to try to get them
That's
to the finish line.
that's awesome. Oh, that's good.
But I think it's also important to mention that in end of July, Brody and I did a 10 miler at the Manasquan Reservoir,
Yep.
and it was the longest he had gone at that point, and he had averaged, I think we were like 10:26, 10:30 a mile
Yeah.
for 10 miles. Fast forward to November on race day, he ran 26 miles and averaged like 9:26 per mile.
Yeah.
So over 16 miles longer, but then also averaged a minute faster per mile. So,
Mm.
that's just a testament to putting in the hard work and the consistency of the training and not being afraid of what was on the schedule or not. There was other than like, hey, what's clarification on this? There was no question on
Sure.
the training or anything. It was just like, okay,
No.
this is what I got to
No.
do.
They did.
I'm gonna do it. And then even when we were home at Christmas, Matt had a video because Brody was out doing one of his long runs or something, and he called to the shop to have water ready for him, and Matt had a video of it, and Brody was out charging it in like a torrential downpour, getting it done in the rain. So I mean,
Yeah.
rain or shine, heat or humidity, whatever it was,
Yeah.
got out there and did it. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
really the consistency of doing it, and also, we started off with 3 days a week for like the first, I think, through July and August, and then once we
August.
got to
Yeah.
September, we started doing 4 days a week. But again, most people that are out there training for marathons are doing it. They're doing 5, 6, 7 days a week of training. They're putting in these crazy amounts of volume, and I don't think even with the long run getting up to 20 miles, I don't think you ever went over 40 miles in a week.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was definitely it was right there. That was where it was. That was it was it was. I mean, knock on wood, right? Like all the wheel stayed on. That was like my main thing was like the wheel stayed on. I in the beginning, the only thing I had a couple of like little calf tweaks. One, one started, I was running and I was doing a wad and it's like I was doing double unders. And I don't know if it was just like this first little strain from the running that I was starting and then the double unders and then just like calf strain. I had a couple little tweaks, and I just like, I just kind of just I did what I normally do, when I get a little tweak and it knock on wood, that was the only thing that I really had, just like my right hip would get a little tight here and there, but I mean, it was nothing that was ever stopping me. At no point did I have a stopping point, which was really cool, and that was, you just kind of go, and I didn't know how, 30 miles a week was going to treat me, let alone 40, and it was, all that work that was done before, I think was what, was where it was, just money in the bank, like for sure.
So you brought up that one day on the track and you heard Metallica and you were
Mm-hmm.
feeling it and you kind of went. I'm curious at the race afterwards if you had, they talk about runner's high when you go those
Mm-hmm.
long distances and all that energy. Did you have any of those feelings? Were you spent afterwards? Were you saying I'm never gonna do another marathon? Were you saying let's bring on a couple, I want to do an ultra? What was the
Uh-huh.
feeling and what was the thought after?
Yeah, like the sense of like true accomplishment was was there, and that was awesome. Like definitely like I mean I was not walking normal when I got done doing the marathon, so at no point was I like like freaking Superman and just fully doing that. But no, I mean I just that if my mom wants to do what's so my mom just texted me the other day. She just signed up for the RBC half in Brooklyn in May, and she asked me for a ride. So I was like, of course I will. So we're gonna go up and we're gonna help her out with that, and and cheer her on, and then from I guess depending on how that she's got some training to do it up until and that's not till May. So I so then depending on how she's feeling there, if she wants to sign up for Philly, I'll sign up for Philly. If she wants to sign up for New York, I'll sign up for New York. Whatever she wants to do, I'll do it again. So 100%, I would do it again. I did not commit to anything yet, but I mean I could, and yeah, I mean just like the experience alone, just like it's I guess you either get it or you don't. As far as like running goes, like so either you love it or hate it, and I've been running since I was younger, but I would take just I ran all through like grammar schools. We would run around like Taknasi, like I think it was
Shout out
Wednesday
to
nights.
Lake
I would
Takkanasi. Monday
yeah,
nights.
Monday nights. Yeah. So so that's so the seed was planted. So I ran track and cross country, in grammar school and a little bit in high school, and but yeah. So like I mean, we were doing that. My mom and I were doing that since I was younger, and so the seed was planted, and it just I would take time off. I wouldn't run for a long time, and then all of a sudden I'd get a pair of running shoes, start running again a little bit, and then I started CrossFit, running, CrossFit, and then depending on what we were doing, do long runs, bunch of sprints, um, and yeah, I don't know, just it's just like the journey that goes on, it's just like all different paths. I really dig this, and the other day I worked out, just did the the 20-minute AMRAP, a little bit of running in it, some jumping pull ups and some what was it ground to overhead? It was a barbell movement, and I got done with that, and I was like, you know what? I was like, yeah, I wasn't. There was like it was like 12 degrees and it was covered in ice and snow, and I was just like, I got on a rower, and then just and just then I banged out, like 20 minutes of rowing, and like it was like I still have that, I feel like I still have that endurance chip friggin', in my pocket still, like really, really good, and I haven't really been, doing much to improve it, so but it's still there. And I don't know. It's I dig it. I don't know. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, you know, and now it's like it's huge, you know, it's totally huge. One of the things that came out of so my long run, Colleen dropped me off for my longest run, my 20 miles. Colleen dropped me off in Long Branch, right on the north end of Seven Presidents Park, and she dropped me off, and I ran from Seven Presidents Park in Long Branch all the way to the beginning of Bayhead, and along the way, I ran along the beach the entire way until Seagirt and had to go around that, and along the way, it just by chance, like our fall big fish showed up, like probably a couple of days before that, and I knew prior to this that, you know, I was going to run, and that there was at some point I was going to see fish, like while I'm running, I'm going to see fish doing their thing, and the whole way from Long Branch all the way to, I want to say, Bradley Beach, there was fish breaking and there was people fishing, and, you know, I was calling my friends like, hey, there's fish here, and the whole way I'm watching fish, and I was like, well, I know where I'm coming back tomorrow, you know, and I knew I didn't have to do anything. I had a day off, you know, and it was the rest day. And I went back the next morning at daybreak, and the fish were still there. And, you know, and I ended up catching the, you know, not till later in the morning, but I got a fish. My first fish came my second cast that morning. And then I got the biggest fish, you know, a 51-inch striped bass, the biggest fish I ever got off the beach that next day, you know. And I think the only reason that it all kind of came together is because I had to do my long run the day before. You know, it was pretty wild. And there's like some like things that, you know, that would happen, you know, and you come across, you know, deer and fox, and it just wild, this wild stuff. It's super cool.
Other than obviously crossing the finish line and getting the medal and having that experience, were there any other highlights along the course that stand out to you?
Um, um, you know what? It's pretty crazy where some women will go to the bathroom. I'll tell you that. That's you know, the grown women just like on a curb, just going to town. I'm like, whoa, you know. I that was wild. I was just like, whoa. I was like, this is like, you hear stories of it, you know, and you know, and you know, just, and dude, like seeing it like in your face, you're just like, holy smokes! So like, these people just, you know, just like going for it, you know. And I mean, I guess that's what you do, you know. I think I only had to pee once, and there was like we came over across like a overpass, and it was like a wooded area. There was no houses. I was like, and all of a sudden there was people like peeling off, you know, and I was just like, oh, I was like, there's woods there. I was like, I really don't have to go. And I was like, and I was like, you know what? If I don't go now, we're going to be in the middle of Center City or wherever, you know, somewhere. I was like, I'm not stopping. So I was like, did that, caught back up to, you know, I found the pacer and Reagan, and we were good to go. Try to think. I remember like at that halfway point, like where, like, just like, I was just like, whoa. I was like, okay, you know, like I mean, at that point, I was still feeling really good. I was like, wow. It's like, you know, it's halfway. I was like, all right, you know, and just like, I wasn't familiar with the course, you know, so you know, I didn't know what that really meant, but I knew like once I remember hearing it beep, you know, the chip reader beep when I went across, and I was just, I don't know, it just like that was like a for whatever reason, that was like a monumental kind of thing. Like once I got halfway, I'm like, all right, you know, we're here, you know, and there was one kid, so during the race, you know, people have tables set up, like home tables, set up with like beers and shots, and there was a couple of boxes of pizza that were cold, and there was some young kid, I'm running, and there was like a couple of people to my right, and these two young kids, they were young, and one kid goes to his friend, he's like, you want pizza? And his friend's like, no, you know. So next thing you know, this kid just peels off, and we're running, comes back, you know, like, you know, I don't know, 45 seconds later, two pieces of pizza, like peppers, onions, like dude, like just like, I'm like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, and this kid just chewing on it, running, chewing. I'm like, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that you could put that down right now and be totally fine. And those kids ended up just taking off, and I was just like, whoa, that was a pretty wild one. I was just like, oh my gosh. No, but this the what's funny is it's like when you be running with like after a while you're running with like the same pack of people pretty much, and there was a couple of kids that had like there had to have been 12 people that were throughout the race, 12, like a pack of 12 that would set up. And these people, every time their friends would run by, they had like those confetti poppers, dude. And like six of them would be going off at one time. And like, dude, the crowd would be going crazy. And like, just like the energy, all of a sudden there'd just be like waves of energy. And when you would see other people see their people, like it was awesome. Like that was like just that energy was so super cool. And I ended up seeing Kyle. I ended up seeing her like four times. Like mile 1, mile 6, mile 18, and then the finish line. And when I got done running, that girl was completely dead set in front of me. It was insane. And she really really helped like the whole time, just like being out, like she cooked, she was cooking for me a bunch, just like when I'd be running, working, doing whatever, and she was pretty integral for being able to train, to be able to do that, and it's huge help. And she's my biggest fan and my biggest cheerleader, and I think she enjoys watching me go as much as as much as I enjoy her being there, and it's a really just a dynamic, together thing that, like she knows her part. Like her part is all behind the scenes, and then I just do my thing. And it's always been like that. She's always been a huge help, especially when I was doing like all my comp training and stuff like that. Like, like I wouldn't have been able to do it without, having her, cooking and doing everything else, that, she does around here, and that's I have to give it to her, because that's the dead honest truth about that. And it's a huge help. And, she had that cut out of one of the fish that I caught in the fall. She got a huge, Jimmy, did you see it?
No.
Oh, dude, let me pull it up. Like she got she went to Pete, and he made, he printed a 44-inch fish rigged that she would put on a stick and held it up so I could see her. It was awesome. I'm gonna send it right now. It was
That's
so
amazing.
good. Yeah, dude, so good. Yeah, like, like it's like that's she came up with that herself. I had no part of that, and it was insane.
Where'd you catch that fish?
That one was in Bayhead. It was really, I could show you. That was in Bayhead. What's going on here, boo? Yeah.
Well, I want you to find it, but I want to ask you questions so there's not as you're searching. And as you're talking about the race and stuff, you mentioned Colleen dropping you off in a Long Branch and you checking out the fish. And I know you're an avid waterman. I don't know if that's a proper term.
100%.
So I know you like to surf. I know you like to fish. And anytime I'm back in Jersey and I'm checking out the sun, there's always the guys there at sunset with me. They're fishing, obviously. Is that the best time to be fishing, or does it matter on the tide?
So like first light, last light, and the tide can make all the difference, especially but mainly that early morning, like the morning bite, like the sunrise, that is like telltale, and so is the sunset. But like for whatever reason, I think that first light bite is like unbelievable. I'm trying to find a picture. I have pictures of me with the fish, and then I'm trying to find a picture of Colleen with the fish because it was unbelievable. But yeah, no, that the tide, it all kind of comes together. But that there are some things that that just just the first light is unbelievable.
It's so interesting you say that because obviously I know nothing about fish, but I'm staring at the sun every morning when it's out. And one thing I've
Yep,
noticed, whether it be at the lake in Denver or in New Jersey or at the lake here, all the birds, you'll see the birds, they're all chirping, watching the sun. The lizards, you'll see the lizards
yep,
come out, they're staring at the sun. You see the fish jumping out of the water at the sun.
yep.
So I'm convinced it's got something to do with the sunlight.
Oh, for sure. I just text you the picture of the
All
fish.
right,
I'm
sweet.
gonna see. I'm gonna see.
Well, I got another one for you, Brody.
Go
You
ahead.
mentioned Colleen and
That's
and
amazing.
her being such a support system, and we all know that it's so important to have a support system. But Jimmy and I both know that Colleen doesn't hold any punches, and she's a straight shooter. So I'm curious,
Yes.
when you said, "Can you drop me off in Long Branch? I'm gonna run to Bayhead." Was she like, "Are you fucking crazy?"
Well, so
Because I could
so
hear her
she
saying that to you.
so she was just like she's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I don't have to worry about turning around. So and she was like, she's like, I don't know if I'm comfortable. I'm like, Carl, I was like, I'm running along the beach. I was like, I have my phone. I was like, said I have money if I need to stop somewhere. I was like, I was like, and I had I stashed water and food in the pier in Belmar because that was the halfway point. So that was 10 miles. So I was like, great. I have everything I need, and so I start running. This is such a classic story. So I start running, and I'm running. I get 300 yards into this run, 300 yards, and all of a sudden, the first time ever, my plastic water bottle, I I have it in my little holder, comes flying out, hits the ground, and cracks. And now I just scoop it up and I'm running. Now at this point, she's running, she's driving past me, and I'm running. And now I'm just looking at the lid, and the lid's just like flapping, and I'm like, oh no. I was like, oh no, I was like, how is this gonna go? And so like so I'm holding on to it. I'm getting splashed. It's like kind of chilly, but it wasn't cold, but it was just like it wasn't super warm to be getting wet yet. And so so I try put it in my back of my pocket, and it's splashing out. Oh my god, I was like, this isn't gonna work. So I just go and I take it and I just pound it. And I got it so there was just a little bit left. So then I slammed the lid into it so it kind of closes stuff back in the thing. I was like, all right, I was like, I can run with that. That'll be just emergency whatever. So then I it's still starting to splash. So then I just pound it, put it back in my pocket, and then I think there was like water fountain somewhere along the line, and I filled it up a little bit, got a little bit. What I didn't really need, I was like I was pretty hydrated, beforehand. I just pounded what I could, and then so that was so my thought was like I was going to call her and tell her to come get me a water bottle or whatever it was, and I was like, you know what? I was like, this happened for a reason. I was like, I'm just rolling with it, and I was like, this is meant to be, I was like, I need to either tough this out and just learn to adapt to this, and because I would have, she didn't go any further than maybe 3 miles from my entire time I was running. She like went, got coffee, and then stayed close, and then she could she has my location, so she could see where I was. But so at no point did she go any further than like 5 miles from me at any point, like the whole way. And I ended up only time I ended up seeing her after that, she dropped me off and drove past me was in once I got onto 71 in Manasquan is when I saw her next, and then the finish, and when I finished, and I was done. But yeah, she definitely thought I was nuts, and but it was definitely it was super cool, and somebody had recommended that to do that on, said on your long runs. They said just get to a starting point and then run back to where you need to be. And these people were like stashing water and stuff like that. And so I was like, all right, just, and so then we just, I had the plan. I stuffed it in the pier, and stopped and got it in the pier, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, she definitely thought I was a little crazy with that, So, but yeah, that was par for the course.
But that's such a good lesson for long distance endurance and marathons and ultra marathons is you have that situation and a lot of people hit panic right out of the gate and
Oh, for sure.
you just rolled with it and
Yeah.
got through it and learned from it and everything worked out, whereas a lot of people that would have been the end of their run.
Oh yeah, no way. Yeah. No, I mean, I knew what I had to do, and it was my initial thought was to call her, just like oh, like I don't have water, but I didn't need it, I was okay. I would have been okay without it, probably would have. It was better with it, but I mean, I had what I needed, I just I like somewhere along the line, it was just like this was meant to happen, because something it was gonna get messed up somewhere along the line, like something was gonna, as long knock on wood, as long as I wasn't hurt, I was fine, I was totally fine. I could deal with it, and it was cool. It was a cool thing, and it was just something stupid that had never happened up until that point, and all of a sudden it happened, and then I rigged up a little thing so that it could never happen again. So yeah, I just took some little paracord and made like a little loop, and that's how I kind of kept it in there. Because what happened was like I had like a little elastic retainer that would go on top of the bottle. Well, that broke, and then I had this little piece of paracord, and then I just took the paracord and it worked out perfect. So
there's your $1 million idea.
Yeah. Yeah, screw that elastic
all
band.
New hydration system.
It's totally, no, it was cool. Super cool.
So you said you ate pretty clean during the training, kind of went to the paleo just to up the performance. Did you have a victory meal?
Well, yeah, absolutely, 100%. We went to the Reading Market in Philly, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but it is pretty much a Kongswood market, super tight, of 1,001 restaurants, delis, pies, cookies, cakes, everything. We ate in like a Creole restaurant. We got there was like Indian food, there was everything, Italian food, every kind of food. There was a line for this chicken and waffles place that was 25 people deep every time we went in there. It was it was really, really cool. I think the next day we ate at the Creole restaurant. I'm trying to think
what beignets.
Yep, beignets. Yep, they didn't have beignets. We got them. We got what did I eat? Red rice and beans, and it was really good. Whatever, I forget what I got. It was really, really good. The place, and it wasn't like super expensive. The place was awesome. Like you walk in, and like there's like a cheesesteak stand, or like there's like you get some kind of like pork sandwich that like the line was like just as long as the chicken and waffle place. It was crazy. But yeah, no, that was I got there was cookies that because we went there when we signed up, when I got registered for the race or whatever, got my number and all that. We went across the street, and we just did a walkthrough, and I was like, I was just scouting out places where I was going to stop the next day after the race. I saw the cookies and this and that, like all types of dumb stuff that I just that I didn't eat while I was training. But it was really, really good. That was my victory meal. It was good.
Funny what the victory meals are like when you're eating clean and doing things right. They're much different than when you're going for donuts and pizza and stuff like that. And like, yeah, I had some
totally.
rice and beans.
No, totally. It's crazy. It was good. It was so good,
Jimmy had a Creole restaurant right by our place in Denver that we would
shout out to Lucille's.
Shout out to Lucille's.
Dude, it's so good.
They give you beignets with every order.
Oh no way! That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We don't have a Creole restaurant around here, but like when you find it right, it's good. Like and then obviously in Louisiana, like the food, I would go back to Louisiana just for the food. It was that good.
Yeah.
Dude, so good.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Rich, I want to add a question to the final four, before we get into that, do you have anything else for Brody? Anything else on the running you want to get into?
I just want to say thanks for reaching out to me and thanks for trusting in me and believing in my
Ah.
crazy ways. And it's
There wasn't a shadow of a doubt.
a wise man once told me a long time ago, shared suffering is a great way to solidify friendship. And although I wasn't there with you every step of the way, suffering along with you, it was cool to help you on this experience and help you get to the finish line. And it's also like a proud papa moment when you've run 26 miles faster average pace than what you did in July by over a minute. It was really, really cool. And I know you said you kind of had a little bit where you thought maybe you could get under 4 hours, but I don't have a shadow of that if you were to do it again, that you would get under 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So thank you.
No, absolutely. That was, there wasn't, I knew, I just did, I didn't know how to get there as far as like, the volume. That was what, and I knew, there was a plan and a way to do it right, and that was what, that was my main concern, just getting the volume so that I didn't, just fall apart, like the wheels didn't fall apart. That was my main concern, and I just, and having a plan and just in it was, it was like, it was, it was funny. I was telling somebody, I just like, it's like, it's, to the point where it's just brainless and you just got to want to do it, and just got to want to, and it's just like, cause you just follow along and just, every run has a pace and every pace has a purpose. And it's so true. It is like, that is mantra, it's crazy, and then, until you're in the mix of this, do you even understand that? Like, does that even make sense? And now I truly, truly, truly understand it. If you feel it, you could tell the difference, it's crazy, like so crazy. But yeah, that was that. Jimmy, did you see what I did on Halloween?
Yeah, dude. That's gonna be the cover for this podcast, bro.
Dude, so good, Jimmy. When I tell, like, I just want to talk because there was a couple of things, like, there was a couple of things that happened, and so like when like we were going, I guess it was like sometime in August. I was like, I was talking to Kyle. I was like, hey, Kyle, it's like, I know I'm gonna have to run around Halloween or was somewhere along Halloween. I was like, I'm gonna run in the Superman outfit. It is like, that thing is 10 years old. I don't even know the last time that I had, how long I've had it. How old do you think it is, Kyle? She said, Kyle said 12 to 15 years, but it's old. And I was like, I'm gonna run in the Superman suit. She's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I was like, it's gonna be funny, just like either, I was like, whatever. It's just gonna be funny, And let me tell you, if there's something, like, if I did that every year just to do it, that's something to do, because the smiles that people would driving by and smiling, this like I put more, like, I saw more people smiling at me than I ever have in my entire life. There was ladies doing laps around the block, like, can I take a picture of you? He was like, I gotta show my kids, and it was just funny. And like the garbage man, like the construction workers, dude, everybody, the garbage man, I thought he was going to, jump out of the truck, it's incredible, like, incredible thing, and I think I did like 10 or 12 miles. I ran through Point into Manasquan and back, and I ran over the bridge twice, the 35 bridge. And later on that day, I was getting, screenshots of other people's Facebook, and somebody sent it to me. It was a screenshot of somebody that my friend was friends with. He was like, I saw Superman, over the bridge, and it's like, they text me like, is this you? And I just started laughing. I'm like, wow. I was like, this is, people are all about it. That was incredible. Like, so incredible. It was good.
You definitely popped me when Rich said that to me. I thought that was absolutely amazing. And
dude, it was incredible. So good.
not as good as your Superman, but you know I'm a Disney nerd, and
Sure, sure.
back in the day, I used to have a Buzz Lightyear sweatshirt, and I used to go for runs in it, and I
Oh
used to
yeah,
get the same thing
people
screenshots
love it,
like
dude.
I just saw Buzz.
Dude, it's so good. It's something so simple, and you would never think that it would have that kind of impact, and people loved it. It was great. It was so good.
No, that was amazing, and he definitely put a
Yeah.
smile on my
No,
face, and
no, dude, it's a classic.
just to kind of go off of what Rich said before
Mm,
about, just getting to follow you along the journey. I must
mhm.
have asked him like 3 weekends in a row, "Did Brody run this weekend? Did Brody run this weekend?" And he's like, "No, it's next weekend. No, it's next weekend." So I was putting the energy out there. I was super
That's
stoked to see
cool.
how you were gonna do. I knew you were gonna crush it. And it's funny. It's funny you brought up gummy bears before, because this is like totally. Rich is gonna be like, bro, I don't know how you remember this shit, but again, growing up, standing in Slinging Ink when Rich or Timmy are getting tattoos and always talking to you about fitness and kettlebells and stuff. That was
Mhm.
always kind of, how we would kind of bond, talk about fitness. I
Sure.
remember you doing kettlebells in like '06, '07, but you
Right.
bring up the gummy bears, and I remember you went to Utah for a ski trip and you had chocolate gummy bears that you brought
Uh-huh.
back from Utah. And I just thought that like I'll never forget. Anytime I see chocolate gummy bears, I always I think about you, and you had them
That's
at the
good.
shop that time.
That's awesome.
This
That's
kid's got
so
a
good.
memory like an elephant.
Dude,
He's
totally.
like, he's like, you remember that one time? And I'm like, no, I don't.
That's awesome. It's ingrained in his brain.
He's
That's
gonna have
awesome.
an epic screenplay one of these days. I'll tell you that much.
Uh,
So, Brody, at the end of every
yeah.
show, we do a final four, but
Mhm.
anytime we have a special guest on or someone that is into a lot of the same stuff Rich and I are in, we might throw a couple in there. So I
Okay.
got two I want to throw into the final four before we get into it.
Wait, I got one more about the
All right,
run before
sorry.
you. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Did you run with music the race
During the
day?
race,
Yeah.
the race day. So I had it in. I had it in. I had like what I had my AirPods, and I had one in, and that way I could just talk to my phone in there. I did have music. Like it was really just kind of like background. Like it was low. It was just something just like if it got quiet, because there was a couple quieter areas on the race, and I did like maybe the first half I did, and then like it was mainly just it was background more than anything, like it wasn't like anything like nothing like when I was running by myself, like just like jammed in and just hit something and just go. But I had it in, but it was more backgroundy than anything.
Didn't have like a special playlist or nothing.
No, I just kind of just like, and that's the way I ran. I just like, just kind of like, well, listen to this, and I started listening to it. If it sucked, I'd switch it, like. But it's a kind of, and if I needed, there was a Deftone song that came up, and it was my most played song, and if I needed a little pickup, or if I had time that I could go and jam it, I put that on, and that was kind of like my go-to on that. And that was
What
funny. It
song?
came out. Oh God, right. I don't even know. I
You
tell
can't
you
bring
one
up
sec.
Deftones with me, bro, and not mention your
It's so
song.
funny because my customer, like because I was tattooing today, and we were like, one of the guys had the music on his phone, and he left, and I set it up. I set up uh, the set up the here we go. My own summer.
All right.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
So yeah, that was that's came on, and that's like my most played, like highlight, when Spotify, gives the highlight. But that was, it's just like that, just the crack of that drum, and then boom, and then it just goes right into it. And that was I put it on, and my customer was just like, whoa. He's like, all right, it's like, all right, he was totally into it, so it was pretty funny, pretty funny.
So, first one I got for you.
Mhm.
What's your favorite CrossFit WOD?
Oh, that's so funny. You asked me this, remember? And It's kettlebell swings, running and pull-ups. What is that?
Helen.
Uh,
Helen, yes, Helen, all day. That's my jam.
all
That is
right.
that is that is. I was built to do that workout.
Okay.
The
This,
classic too.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's one of our
that,
favorites as well. Yeah,
dude.
the
Dude, that's the best.
funny thing is I've never got a good time on that, or never a time that I thought I could get on it. I always like
Really?
blow up. Yeah. After that first round, my 800s like drop so drastically.
400s.
It's 400s?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
400s.
right, yeah, they
I
drop
think
Yeah.
drastically.
I think the
Is it? Was
800
it?
one is Kelly.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
like
right.
box jumps and pull-ups and
Oh,
maybe it's kettlebell swings too. It's pretty gnarly. That
yeah.
one's
As I
rough.
said, I did the box jumps in that. Oh, yeah. And how many rounds? How many rounds is Helen? Helen, 3 rounds or 5 rounds?
Yeah, 3 rounds.
Three. Yeah, dude, that is my jam. I could do that pretty much any day. It's 12. Yeah, it's like a 400-meter run, 12 pull-ups, and
21
21
swings.
swings.
swings. Yep, totally. Phew, I love it. Yeah, that's the. I remember you asked me that, and it took me a minute to think about it, and then I remembered it. But 100% Helen.
All right. And the other one I got, it's kind of a two-parter.
Okay.
Who is your favorite tattoo artist to
Ooh.
do their like tattoos, do their flash, and who's your favorite tattoo artist in general?
Oh. Um. So what was the first question?
Flash,
We'll go
like
with it.
tattoo artist flash that you like to do.
Flash. Um. Hmm. Wow, you get me on these really in depth, like friggin' like deep questions. Like I mean, I haven't done it in forever, but I love doing like Jack Rudy like black and gray stuff. That was stuff that I did early on. I mean, I'm down for any and all of it. It's either Jack Rudy or like Dan Higgs. And they're completely like they're absolute opposites on, it's like as simple traditional as Dan Higgs, and then Jack Rudy's like just fancy, fancy, detailed black and gray. But I love them both, and that's really like if I could pick two, I would pick those two, like something from each, easy. That'd be like so easy.
All right. Brody, are you a coffee drinker?
100%.
How do you brew your coffee and how do you take it?
And I do pour over, just a single cup pour over. I was doing a French press, whatever, but I think the single cup pour over is the way to do it, and just a little bit of milk, and
All
that's it.
right. Do you have a
Yeah.
bean of choice?
Uh, that's a good one. Rook has a Bali bean. I dig that. Colleen got me some Kona coffee beans. But Blue Mountain, the Jamaican Blue Mountain is probably like a never fail, 100%. Anytime we go to Turning Point, I'll get that. They get you get the French press of Blue Mountain. That's good. So I don't know. That's it. I named three, but that's somewhere in there.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Bert, do you have any daily practices or rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of yourself?
Ooh, wow. Oh. You guys with the deep questions here, all angles, man, getting deep. Um, what do I do? Hell, man. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. Now it's like, wow, dead air.
Are you working out daily or
Like
movement?
so, like yeah. I mean, it's so there's yeah. I mean, if like depending on the waves, it's really kind of where I'm at with that right now. I really like and so I really feel like I surf the best with my body in the where it is right now. Like as far as like my weight and like my flexibility, like my strength, like my strength. Like I feel like I feel like I'm not as strong as I was, but obviously my endurance is on a different page. For surf, like my body right now, it feels the best. Like when I was running, I felt like like my surfing was the best, and I think it's because I was a little bit lighter than where I was. Just like a lot of that bulk it makes especially with a 5 mil wetsuit, it makes it a little tough, in the winter time. But like I feel light at this weight, and just like the way it is, I could be, I definitely, could, just I could get a little bit stronger, but like I'm trying, I just message Skip, and to get me onto a Windler, just like so that I have a little bit of a base of strength, for like if and when I do start training again for another run. It's like that's the only thing that just I want to make sure that I have muscle, like muscle mass, and nothing, if there's any bit of like a deficiency or like a weakness somewhere, that I want to just kind of tap into that and focus on that. I just did something. I just did something today, and I was following one of Marcus Philly, one of his workouts, and it was after that competition, Colleen won me a landmine base. So I have a barbell here, and I soaked up I did one of the, and it was a broken stance, like a broken stance. So one foot was back, and a broken stance squat, a broken stance RDL, and like it was totally different, and it was really cool, and I dug it. It was just something different, And I was home. I didn't have a whole lot of time because I had an early appointment, so I had to kind of just get something in. And I was just like when I saw it the other day, and I did it, and it was cool. And it's pretty amazing where that guy's at and his fitness and just his journey is wild, man. He is shredded like crazy. It's like, wow, like, and I haven't really seen him in like quite some time. I was like, holy shit, it's wild. But his stuff was like his the workout that we did was really cool, and he's just like, he breaks it down, warms it up. It's really cool. It was pretty cool. Something different, but it was it definitely a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be, and it was only like 35 pounds on the one end of the barbell, and it was definitely enough, you did some seated presses, and just it was just like, man, they got you, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. That was where that's at, and that's kind of where I'm going. I'm gonna start some Windler, a little bit of Windler, get that going a little bit, do some accessory stuff, and kind of go from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Brody, what are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? Are you reading anything?
Music is just kind of the Spotify thing. As far as podcasts, a little bit of what did I just look up? It was I'll tell you in 1 second.
You say the Spotify thing, but there's never been a time I've been in Slinging Ink where there's not good music playing.
Yeah, I mean, now it all comes from Spotify, really. I listen to I listen to a bunch of like fishing podcasts, just like surf casting podcasts. Where's it at? It just popped up here. What is this? I don't know. It's a Surfcaster's Journal is what is the podcast that I've been listening to. I mean, it just goes through just some all different techniques and stories of guys fishing on rocks, and crazy fish coming up, and seals and sharks and all types of gnarly stuff. Fishing at night, in chest deep water on top of rocks, and as the tide comes in, getting swept off rocks, and pretty wild stuff. Pretty cool. But as far as music, yeah, I don't know. I listen to it all. I listen to everything from EDM to the Lamb of God.
Which I want to add, the EDM thing, you and Colleen have both been hiding that from me for like almost 2 decades.
Dude. So yeah, like we went to I
Guy
went to
sends
my
me a
first
picture from a pool party with
party.
Tiesto. I'm like, wait a second.
Dude, so good. And like I'm all about the daytime the daytime pool party. I during the day get it done and go home. It's
Hmm.
cool like that. That's a wild scene there down in Atlantic City. Yeah, we've been to seen Tiesto a couple times. Brooklyn, in the pool. Um, yeah, all this James Hype, we saw him twice, saw Tiesto twice. But it was cool, but it's really cool. But it really, the EDM thing, for a while, like it just kind of like before I started nasal breathing, that was like I like so that was just something to kind of keep my feet moving, like just the bang of the bass, just that kind of mantra, and like and it's pretty foreign from just like listening to like heavier music like I have been in a long time, and this guy it just kind of snuck in there, and then Carl loves it, and that's what Carl's always listened to, and then we started going to see this stuff, and 4 a.m. sets in Brooklyn, and it's like, whoa, it's a wild ride and people going for it, but it's cool. It's really cool. It's something different, and pretty good.
Yeah, Jimmy and I saw Tiesto at Hammerstein Ballroom
Oh, whoa, that's
for
cool.
it was the Kaleidoscope album tour, and
Okay.
when it was all like he has like the build up and everything, and then when
Yep.
it drops, like the floor,
Floor
because
move.
everyone was just rocking, like it
Jump
felt like
into
the floor was just kind of like like
well, you're
waving up and
bouncing.
down.
I felt like I
Must have
was
been all
on
those
an
tunnels they have in New York.
Yeah, right. Crazy. So crazy. Oh, that's a whole nother ball game right
That's a
there.
different
I,
podcast for another time.
I just saw something online. Oh my god, I was crying. I'll send it to you, dude. It's too good, too good.
Bernie, last one we have for you. Do you
Which
have a
got
guilty pleasure? Could be
ooh,
food. We know you got fishing. We know you love
yep.
surfing. Maybe you're a Swiftie. I know you've been holding out on the EDM thing for a long time. Maybe you and Kyle like Taylor Swift too. You can tell us.
No, like so the EDM that was like, but that was for a while. Like that was just kind of my thing, and I didn't not too many. I mean, Kyle knew, but like not too many people know. And then now it's like, like I forget how it came out in the shop, and that was like just totally my guilty pleasure for a while. Like I dug it, like it just in random, I'll do that. Trying to think what else guilty pleasure.
You go to Hoffman's Ice Cream every once in a
D-
while.
uh,
Cold Stone,
uh, oh,
Point Creamery.
Trader Joe's makes elote corn chips. They're down low, so they make regular corn chip dippers, and then they make these elote corn chips. They are absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you've ever had them. I highly recommend them. They're like you're going to eat them, and they're going to get spicy, and you're going to have to eat some more. But you have a little bit of guacamole with them, and it is out of control. Like that is by far like we don't have them in the house, because if they're in the house, I eat them. Like I would eat like a handful. Like when I was if I was I was feeling it. But there's a lot of the junk food stayed out of the house the whole time I was training. You just less, if you don't, if it's not there, you're not going to eat it, and that's my and just and having a little bit of prep as far as the meals go. That's I think being prepared, especially doing the work that I do, not waiting until I was hungry to eat and to figure it out, because then at that point you're going to eat anything, and just like, and I learned that a long time ago, is that just like having a little bit of prep, not that you have to have a week's prep, but just having like your lunch already made, so that when you're ready to eat, you eat, you're eating the right thing and it's all set up. A little bit of cooking before hand, you know, just like, and it goes a long way with that. And it's just like that was like a huge thing for me that I learned a long time ago. And it's just like, as soon as I, you know, got into mode, you know, while I was running, that was, you know, that was in place, and that was just like, it was just on the roll, and it just kept it going, you know, and it was huge. It was a huge part for me, you know. Yeah.
Definitely have to keep my eye out for those corn chips at
Dude,
Trader Joe's. I know.
low on the shelf. I'm telling you right now that they've always been low for whatever reason. I
All
don't know.
right.
Yeah.
I know Richie likes the spicy stuff, so I'll keep an
Oh,
eye
dude, you'll
out
love
for
it.
him.
You'll love it. It's really good.
Yeah, I gotta see some.
Brody, thanks again, sir. Didn't mean to cut you off, Rich, but
No,
thanks
no,
again for sharing your story with us, for
absolutely.
always being the man, and congratulations. And I hope you do another race. We can have you
Yeah.
on, and at some point we're just gonna have to have you on just to talk about the tattoo shop because I know you got some crazy stories there.
Okay.
But
Always,
thanks for your time tonight, sir.
dude. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you again, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my pleasure.
Dude, it was unbelievable. You know, it just like it built a. I feel like this, like, you know, like it just set our friendship on a different, on a level, you know, and you know, like, and it's really cool, and I appreciate it, and I thank you for being so gratuitous with it, you know, and just free willing with it, and it definitely, like, it helped hugely, you know, and I can't, you know, you know, I am a testament of it. And, you know, there's anybody that, you know, talks to me about it, you know, like, it just, I try and send them your way, you know, and, it's awesome. And I thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Next
Yeah,
time
man.
I'm home, we're going fist bumping.
All good.
Book
Absolutely.
it.